Your personality is the foundation of your entire life. It determines how you interpret the world, how you react to challenges, and how you connect with others. Every decision you make, every relationship you build, and every opportunity you either seize or miss, all of it traces back to who you are at your core. Most people believe their success depends on external factors like timing, luck, or resources. But the truth is, those things only amplify what's already inside you. A strong, healthy personality can turn small chances into massive wins, while an unrefined one can turn golden opportunities into wasted potential. When you wake up each day, you bring your personality into every situation you face. The tone of your voice, the patience in your reactions, the belief you carry in your abilities, all these are reflections of the kind of person you've become. That's why two people can face the same problem and have completely different outcomes. One sees possibility, the other sees limitation. The difference isn't the situation, it's the personality behind the reaction. If your personality is rooted in fear, you'll avoid risk. If it's grounded in doubt, you'll second guess every decision. If it's built on pride, you'll reject feedback. And yet, if your personality is anchored in growth, resilience, and humility, you'll rise through almost anything life throws at you. It's not magic, it's mindset embodied in character. Every great transformation in life begins when a person stops trying to fix their environment and starts fixing themselves. The mistake many people make is thinking that personality is fixed, that who they are is some permanent, unchangeable identity written in stone. But personality is not destiny, it's design. It's the sum of your experiences, your conditioning, and the choices you make every single day. The same way you've developed habits of thought and reaction, you can develop new ones. You can learn to be calm under pressure, just as you once learned to be anxious under stress. You can learn to be confident in uncertainty, just as you once learned to doubt yourself in silence. When you take responsibility for shaping your personality, you take responsibility for shaping your future. The key lies in awareness. You cannot change what you do not notice. Begin by observing your patterns, how you respond to stress, how you handle criticism, how you talk to yourself when you fail. Every moment is feedback. Your reactions are the mirror that shows you what needs upgrading. And the moment you stop blaming others for how you feel, you begin the process of transformation. This transformation is not about pretending to be someone else. It's about becoming more of who you were meant to be. Growth doesn't erase your authenticity, it refines it. You don't lose yourself when you change, you lose your limitations. The version of you that plays small, doubts potential, or fears rejection is not her real you, it's the programmed you. Beneath all that is someone capable of more focus, more courage, more compassion, and more clarity than you've ever allowed yourself to access. Your personality determines the quality of every interaction you have. The way you speak to people, the energy you bring into a room, the way you make others feel, all of it reflects your internal world. If you want stronger relationships, you don't start by fixing others, you start by fixing how you show up. A more grounded personality attracts peace. A more positive personality attracts opportunity. A more disciplined personality attracts success. What you project outward is what returns inward. The beauty of working on your personality is that it compounds. Small improvements in self-awareness, patience, and discipline stack over time. The person who chooses to pause before reacting becomes the one who makes wiser decisions. The one who practices gratitude becomes the one who inspires others. Over months and years, these tiny shifts redefine your entire identity. One day, you'll look back and realize you didn't just change what you do, you changed who you are. Many chase transformation through external achievement, but real transformation happens when you outgrow old versions of yourself. You stop chasing validation because you've built inner confidence. You stop avoiding challenges because you've developed inner resilience. You stop comparing because you've cultivated inner peace. When your inner world strengthens, your outer world begins to align with it naturally. Your personality is the silent architect of your destiny. Everything you want, success, love, peace, fulfillment, will flow more easily when the person you are becomes strong enough to hold it. The world doesn't give you what you dream of, it gives you what you're prepared for. And preparation begins within. Every time you say, "That's just who I am," you are not describing a truth, you are accepting a limitation. Those 5 words seem harmless, but they carry the weight of resignation. They quietly tell your mind that change is impossible, that growth is out of reach, and that you are a finished product instead of a work in progress. The human mind clings to identity because it gives us certainty, but that same certainty can trap us in patterns that no longer serve us. When you say, "That's just who I am," you stop questioning, you stop evolving, and you surrender the very power that could transform your life. People often defend their flaws as if they were sacred. "I'm just impatient. I'm just bad with money. I'm just not confident." These statements sound honest, but they're not honesty, they're habits of self-definition. They're excuses wrapped in self-awareness. Instead of asking, "Why am I this way?" or "How can I improve this?" we settle for a false sense of acceptance. True acceptance isn't about staying the same, it's about acknowledging where you are so you can grow beyond it. Every fixed statement about your personality is a locked door that you hold the key to. When you protect your weaknesses, you prevent your strengths from expanding. The mind loves consistency. It wants your actions to match your identity. So if you identify as someone who's always anxious or never focused, your brain will subconsciously find ways to prove that identity right. You'll notice moments that reinforce it and ignore those that contradict it. Over time, you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the moment you decide that those labels are not who you are, but merely patterns you've practiced, you begin to reclaim your freedom to change. Growth requires a radical kind of honesty, the kind that looks in the mirror and says, "This version of me isn't serving my future." It's not self-criticism, it's self-responsibility. It's realizing that personal evolution doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you challenge the assumptions you've been living by. The greatest breakthroughs often begin with the smallest shift in language. Replace "that's just who I am" with "that's who I've been." One closes the door to growth. The other opens it. There's something powerful about acknowledging that personality is fluid. Who you are today is a collection of choices, experiences, and stories you've told yourself over time. But stories can be rewritten. Choices can be remade. You are not stuck with a personality that limits your potential. You're simply repeating behaviors that reflect old conditioning. The human brain is remarkably adaptable. It's wired to change through awareness and repetition. Every new thought you think, every reaction you modify, every fear you challenge begins to rewire who you are. When you start to challenge your own narratives, you begin to see how much of your personality was built out of survival, not intention. Maybe you learned to stay quiet because speaking up once led to rejection. Maybe you became defensive because vulnerability once led to pain. Maybe you learned to downplay your potential because success once made others uncomfortable. These were not flaws, they were adaptations. But as you evolve, the strategies that once protected you can start to limit you. The courage to grow begins when you decide that your past patterns don't deserve to define your future identity. This mindset shift changes everything. Instead of saying, "I can't," you start saying, "I'm learning." Instead of believing, "I've always been this way," you begin to say, "I'm becoming better every day." That one change in language turns every limitation into a learning curve. It opens the door for practice, for improvement, for evolution. And soon enough, the habits that once felt impossible to break begin to lose their grip because you've stopped giving them authority over who you are. Every person who has reinvented themselves started by refusing to accept a fixed definition of who they were. They questioned their tendencies, they outgrew their excuses, and they replaced passive acceptance with intentional growth. They stopped saying, "That's just who I am," and started saying, "This is who I choose to be." The difference between those two sentences is the difference between stagnation and transformation. When you let go of the idea that your personality is fixed, you start living with curiosity instead of certainty. You begin to see yourself as a project under construction, a living, evolving work of art. You stop fearing change because you realize that change doesn't erase who you are. It expands you. Each time you push past an old belief or reaction, you stretch your sense of identity. And that stretch, repeated over time, becomes growth that feels natural instead of forced. The truth is, your potential is far bigger than your patterns. The person you've been up until now has done the best they could with what they knew. But you are not obligated to stay the same. The moment you stop using your personality as a defense and start using it as a design, your entire life begins to shift. Every time you catch yourself saying, "That's just who I am," pause and remind yourself that who you are is not fixed. It's being rewritten one conscious choice at a time. Your personality is not a permanent structure carved in stone. It is a living, breathing composition that evolves with every experience, every challenge, and every decision you make. Too many people believe they were born a certain way and are destined to remain that way forever. They assume that being introverted, impatient, anxious, or overly cautious is an unchangeable part of who they are. But personality is not a fixed identity. It's a habit of being. It's a collection of learned behaviors, emotional responses, and thought patterns that can be reshaped with awareness and effort. What you've learned, you can unlearn. What you've practiced, you can replace. And what you've become accustomed to can be transformed. Think of your personality as software. It runs in the background, influencing everything you do, often without your awareness. The problem is that most people are operating on an outdated version of themselves. They're still using beliefs they downloaded years ago, beliefs they inherited from family, school, failure, or trauma. Yet life keeps evolving, and so must the system that runs it. When the software is outdated, it crashes under pressure when your personality is outdated. You repeat the same patterns, even when you desperately want change. The difference between who you are and who you want to be lies in whether you're willing to update the inner program. Confidence, patience, discipline, and empathy are not traits you either have or don't have, they are skills. Like any skill, they can be developed through intention and repetition. You can train your mind to be calm under pressure, to pause before reacting, to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. Change is not a matter of capability. It's a matter of commitment. The brain doesn't resist change because it's impossible. It resists change because it's uncomfortable. But comfort is not the goal, growth is. The more you expose yourself to new ways of thinking, the more your brain rewires itself to make those ways feel natural. There's a misconception that authenticity means staying the same. People say, "I want to be true to myself," as if that means refusing to evolve. But authenticity isn't about resisting growth. It's about being aligned with your truest potential. The most authentic thing you can do is to outgrow the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. You are not betraying who you are by changing. You are becoming more of who you were meant to be. A personality rooted in growth allows you to express your genuine self without the filters of fear, doubt, or insecurity that once held you back. When you accept that your personality is flexible, you open the door to a new kind of freedom. You no longer feel trapped by labels or past experiences. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," you start saying, "I'm learning this." Instead of saying, "I'm not confident," you say, "I'm building confidence." That subtle shift changes everything because language shapes identity. Every word you use to describe yourself is a command to your subconscious mind. If you feed it limitations, it will build walls. If you feed it growth, it will build pathways. This process of transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires observation, patience, and persistence. You have to pay attention to how you react when things don't go your way, how you speak to yourself when you fail, and how you treat others when you're stressed. These small moments reveal the truth about your personality far more than your intentions do. Change begins in those moments when you catch yourself slipping into an old pattern and decide to respond differently, even just once. Each small adjustment is a step toward rewiring who you are. There's no limit to how many times you can recreate yourself. Every season of life demands a different version of you. The personality that helped you survive in your past may not help you succeed in your future. Adaptation is the essence of evolution, and your personal evolution depends on your willingness to let go of who you were to become who you need to be. People often fear that changing means losing themselves, but the truth is refusing to change means losing your potential. You are meant to evolve, to shed the layers of fear and hesitation that have built up over time. When you begin to see your personality as a tool rather than a trap, you start to use it intentionally. You can choose patience in moments of frustration. You can choose curiosity in moments of uncertainty. You can choose empathy in moments of conflict. These choices, repeated over time, become your new habits, and those habits form your new personality. Growth is not about changing everything at once. It's about choosing differently one moment at a time until those choices become second nature. The most empowering realization is that transformation is not reserved for a few special people. It's available to anyone willing to do the inner work. The leaders who inspire, the individuals who seem naturally confident or composed, weren't born that way. They built those qualities through consistent practice and conscious effort. Every evolved personality is the result of deliberate self-construction. The only difference between them and those who stay stuck is belief. Belief that who they are today doesn't define who they can become tomorrow. When you understand that personality is a design, not a destiny, you stop waiting for change to happen and start creating it. You stop reacting to life and begin shaping it. You start to see yourself as the sculptor, not the sculpture, as the one who has the power to mold, refine, and elevate the self to meet any goal, any challenge, any dream. The question is not whether you can change, but whether you will choose to. Because once you decide that your personality is within your control, everything in your life becomes within your reach. Change rarely demands grand gestures. It's built through small, consistent shifts that, over time, create massive transformation. Most people underestimate the power of small improvements because they seem insignificant in the moment. They think that becoming 10% more disciplined or 10% more patient won't make much of a difference. But it's those subtle adjustments that rewrite the trajectory of an entire life. Small shifts compound. The person you are 5 years from now is built on the habits you practice quietly when no one is watching. Every minor change you make to your mindset, your reactions, and your daily choices adds up until one day you realize you're no longer the same person you used to be. It's easy to chase drastic change because we crave quick results. We want overnight transformation, sudden confidence, immediate discipline. But real growth doesn't happen in leaps. It happens in layers. You grow by refining your behavior day by day, moment by moment. Each time you respond differently to a familiar situation, each time you take a breath instead of reacting in anger, each time you choose focus over distraction, you carve a new version of yourself. The person you're becoming is being built in these ordinary, quiet moments that rarely get celebrated but define everything. Imagine what would happen if you improved one small aspect of your personality every week. If you worked on being slightly more optimistic, slightly more disciplined, slightly more empathetic. In a year, you wouldn't just feel different, you would be different. You would think differently, speak differently, and attract different outcomes because the small adjustments you made to your personality would start to ripple outward. The compound effect of minor improvements can turn mediocrity into mastery and uncertainty into unstoppable confidence. Most people underestimate the connection between their personality and their results. They look for external reasons why things aren't working. Bad luck, unfair systems, lack of opportunity, without realizing that the biggest transformation begins within. Becoming just a little more organized can double your productivity. Becoming just a little more confident can change the way people respond to you. Becoming just a little more patient can strengthen every relationship in your life. The transformation doesn't have to be dramatic to be powerful, it just has to be consistent. These small shifts also build something far more valuable than success: self-trust. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you teach your mind that you can be counted on. That sense of internal reliability becomes the foundation of confidence. You no longer need validation from others because you've proven to yourself that you can grow, that you can change, that you can handle whatever comes. Confidence, built this way, doesn't fade because it's rooted in evidence, not ego. Small growth also builds emotional resilience. When you focus on steady improvement instead of instant results, you stop getting discouraged by setbacks. You start seeing challenges as part of the process rather than signs of failure. Each time you stumble and get back up, you strengthen your ability to adapt. You begin to understand that real transformation isn't about perfection, it's about progress. The greatest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who keep moving forward, no matter how many times they stumble. The truth about lasting change is that it happens through repetition. You don't become patient by reading about patience. You become patient by practicing it in frustrating moments. You don't develop focus by wishing for it. You develop it by eliminating distractions one decision at a time. Every small action is a signal to your brain that you are serious about who you want to become. Over time, those repeated signals build new neural pathways, turning what once felt difficult into a natural part of who you are. Each small step also carries a ripple effect. When you become calmer, the people around you feel safer. When you become more disciplined, those who depend on you learn consistency. When you become kinder, others mirror that energy. The work you do on your personality doesn't stay confined to you. It spreads. You begin to create an environment that reflects your inner evolution. In that sense, personal growth becomes a quiet form of leadership. You inspire others not through what you say, but through how you live. It's important to understand that small shifts require patience and persistence because the results aren't always visible right away. You might not notice the difference between who you were yesterday and who you are today, but the change is happening beneath the surface. Growth is often invisible until it isn't. One day, you'll face a situation that once would have broken you, and this time, you'll handle it with ease. That's when you realize that all those small, unnoticed efforts have built an unshakable strength. Every major transformation begins with a minor adjustment in behavior, thought, or attitude. The big breakthroughs you dream about are built on the small choices you make every day. The gap between the life you have and the life you want isn't closed by massive leaps. It's closed by daily progress. The difference between success and stagnation, between chaos and clarity, lies in your willingness to make and maintain those small, meaningful shifts until they reshape not only your personality, but the entire direction of your life. Success doesn't come from luck, timing, or external opportunities alone. It comes from the person you become in the process of pursuing it. Circumstances are temporary, but character is constant. You can give two people the same resources, the same tools, even the same opportunities, and they'll produce entirely different outcomes because what truly determines success is not what's given, but who receives it. When your personality is grounded in strong values, discipline, and emotional maturity, you can turn even small chances into extraordinary results. But when your personality is fragile, when it's built on excuses, impatience, or insecurity, no amount of opportunity will sustain your success. Your outer world always reflects your inner world. If there's chaos within, there will be chaos around. If there's clarity inside, there will be order outside. Personality is the filter through which you experience life. The way you think, react, and interpret events defines the quality of your experience far more than the events themselves. Two people can face the same setback. One sees it as an ending, the other as a beginning. One becomes bitter, the other becomes better. The difference isn't in what happened, it's in who it happened to. This is why personal growth is not optional. It's the foundation for everything else. When you develop your personality, you're not just improving your mood or your relationships, you're changing the lens through which you see the entire world. A resilient personality sees obstacles as lessons. A patient personality sees delays as preparation. A confident personality sees uncertainty as opportunity. Your perception shapes your reality, and your personality shapes your perception. That's why lasting success is built from the inside out. Without inner strength, even great achievements can feel empty or unsustainable. Character is the unseen architecture of every great life. It's the quiet force that keeps you steady when things fall apart and humble when things go well. It's what helps you make decisions guided by integrity rather than impulse. When your personality is shaped by principle rather than pressure, you gain control over your destiny. You no longer live reactively. Responding to circumstances, you begin to live intentionally, creating the kind of life that aligns with who you are becoming. The quality of your life is a mirror of the quality of your character. There's a misconception that success changes people, but it doesn't. It reveals them. When you achieve more, the world sees more of what's already inside you. If you're generous, you'll become more generous with resources. If you're careless, you'll become more reckless with power. If you're humble, success will amplify your grace. If you're arrogant, it will amplify your ego. That's why it's dangerous to chase external success before developing internal stability. Without the right personality to hold success, what was once a blessing can quickly become a burden. Developing your personality is like strengthening the foundation of a house. The taller you want to build, the deeper you must dig, the more you want from life, the more you must become. Every goal demands a certain version of you to achieve and sustain it. You can't reach a new level of success with the same mindset that created your current one. Growth always requires expansion from within first. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are prepared for. And preparation begins by refining your character. When life becomes difficult, your personality determines whether you endure or collapse. Some people crumble under stress, while others rise higher because they've built mental and emotional endurance. Resilience is not luck, it's character in motion. It's forged in the quiet decisions to stay calm when chaos hits, to remain focused when distractions call, to act with integrity when shortcuts seem easier. These moments don't just test your personality, they strengthen it. Every challenge you face is an invitation to build the kind of character that can carry your dreams. A strong personality doesn't mean being unshakable or emotionless. It means being self-aware enough to understand your emotions without being ruled by them. It means knowing when to stand firm and when to adapt. It means holding your vision steady while navigating change with grace. Emotional intelligence is one of the greatest indicators of character strength because it allows you to handle both success and struggle with balance. When your inner world is stable, no external storm can derail you for long. The results you experience in life will always match the person you are on the inside. If you're inconsistent, your outcomes will be unstable. If you're disciplined, your success will be sustainable. If you're honest, your relationships will be trustworthy. You cannot escape the echo of your own character. Your behavior leaves fingerprints on everything you touch. Your career, your relationships, your reputation, your future. This is why true achievement is not measured by what you gain, but by who you become while gaining it. The most powerful shift happens when you realize that your personality is the cause, not the consequence of your results. The state of your finances, your health, your happiness, all of it is shaped by your habits, beliefs, and emotional patterns. When you elevate your personality, you elevate your life. You begin to attract better opportunities, build stronger connections, and make wiser decisions. The world responds to who you are, not what you say you want, and when who you are is built on character, the results take care of themselves. Every day you wake up, you are given the opportunity to become the kind of person your future depends on. Most people start their mornings thinking about what they need to do, but very few stop to ask who they need to be. It's an important distinction. Your actions flow from your identity. The version of yourself that exists right now was designed to survive your past, not necessarily to build your future. And if you keep approaching new goals with an old mindset, you will keep hitting the same invisible wall. True transformation begins when you stop focusing only on changing your circumstances and start focusing on becoming the person capable of handling what you desire. Becoming who your future needs means looking at your life as a work in progress, not a finished product. It's recognizing that every goal you have, whether it's success, peace, love, or purpose, requires a stronger, wiser, more disciplined version of you to sustain it. People often want the reward without developing the responsibility to hold it. They want leadership without patience, wealth without discipline, love without maturity. But life never gives you what you want. It gives you what you're ready for. When you grow into readiness, opportunities begin to align almost effortlessly. Most people approach change backward. They wait for circumstances to improve before they improve themselves. They say, when I get that job, I'll become more focused. Or, when I'm in a better relationship, I'll be more understanding. But life doesn't work that way. The order is always reversed. You must become more focused before the right opportunities appear. You must become more understanding before the right relationships stay. You attract what you are, not what you wish for. The inner evolution must happen first. Everything external follows that shift. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting transformation without discomfort. Growth feels exciting in theory, but in practice, it asks you to let go of your old ways of thinking, reacting, and behaving. It challenges you to face your ego, your fears, your insecurities, all the parts of you that prefer familiarity over progress. To become the person your future needs, you have to outgrow the version of yourself that's comfortable being average. Growth demands honesty. It requires that you look in the mirror and ask, what part of me is holding me back? And then have the courage to confront the answer. Becoming your future self is not a single decision. It's a series of daily choices. It's how you handle inconvenience, how you talk to yourself after failure, how you treat others when no one's watching. These small, Invisible moments build the foundation of your character. The habits you repeat shape your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, patience over impulse, growth over comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Those votes accumulate until one day you wake up and realize you've built someone new. This process requires consistency, not perfection. You will fail, you will fall back into old patterns, but that doesn't mean you've failed at becoming better. It means you're in the process of rewiring yourself. Transformation is messy because it's real. You're not just changing what you do, you're changing how you think, how you see, how you feel. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes feedback. The more you learn to see those experiences as part of your growth, the less you resist them. You stop seeing discomfort as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. When you decide to become who your future needs, your priorities begin to shift. The things that once entertained you may no longer fulfill you. The people who drain your energy start to feel incompatible with your vision. Your time, your focus, your peace becomes sacred. You begin to say no more often, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You understand that every decision either brings you closer to or further from your future self. Every choice matters because every choice shapes identity. As you evolve, life starts to mirror your inner transformation. The same challenges that used to overwhelm you no longer hold the same power. The same fears that once kept you stuck begin to fade. You realize that the goal was never just about achieving something external. It was about becoming someone capable of creating and sustaining that achievement. Growth shifts your energy, and energy attracts experience. The moment your inner world changes, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match it. Becoming the person your future needs also means leading yourself with vision. It means seeing beyond what's in front of you and living as if the future version of yourself were already watching. How would they handle conflict? How would they manage time? How would they carry themselves in moments of doubt? When you act in alignment with that vision, you begin to bridge the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. The goal isn't to chase your future. It's to grow into it one choice at a time. Ultimately, the path to the life you want runs directly through the person you're willing to become. Every dream you have is waiting for the version of you who is strong enough, patient enough, and disciplined enough to make it real. You can't control the timing of opportunity, but you can control your readiness for it. You can control your mindset, your effort, your consistency, and your willingness to grow. And when you do, life begins to respond in ways that feel almost magical because you've finally aligned who you are with what you want. Every day you wake up, you are given the opportunity to become the kind of person your future depends on. Most people start their mornings thinking about what they need to do, but very few stop to ask who they need to be. It's an important distinction. Your actions flow from your identity. The version of yourself that exists right now was designed to survive your past, not necessarily to build your future. And if you keep approaching new goals with an old mindset, you will keep hitting the same invisible wall. True transformation begins when you stop focusing only on changing your circumstances and start focusing on becoming the person capable of handling what you desire. Becoming who your future needs means looking at your life as a work in progress, not a finished product. It's recognizing that every goal you have, whether it's success, peace, love, or purpose, requires a stronger, wiser, more disciplined version of you to sustain it. People often want the reward without developing the responsibility to hold it. They want leadership without patience, wealth without discipline, love without maturity. But life never gives you what you want. It gives you what you're ready for. When you grow into readiness, opportunities begin to align almost effortlessly. Most people approach change backward. They wait for circumstances to improve before they improve themselves. They say, when I get that job, I'll become more focused. Or, when I'm in a better relationship, I'll be more understanding. But life doesn't work that way. The order is always reversed. You must become more focused before the right opportunities appear. You must become more understanding before the right relationships stay. You attract what you are, not what you wish for. The inner evolution must happen first. Everything external follows that shift. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting transformation without discomfort. Growth feels exciting in theory, but in practice, It asks you to let go of your old ways of thinking, reacting, and behaving. It challenges you to face your ego, your fears, your insecurities, all the parts of you that prefer familiarity over progress. To become the person your future needs, you have to outgrow the version of yourself that's comfortable being average. Growth demands honesty. It requires that you look in the mirror and ask, what part of me is holding me back? And then have the courage to confront the answer. Becoming your future self is not a single decision. It's a series of daily choices. It's how you handle inconvenience, how you talk to yourself after failure, how you treat others when no one's watching. These small, invisible moments build the foundation of your character. The habits you repeat shape your identity, and your identity determines your destiny. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, patience over impulse, growth over comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Those votes accumulate until one day you wake up and realize you've built someone new. This process requires consistency, not perfection. You will fail. You will fall back into old patterns, but that doesn't mean you've failed at becoming better. It means you're in the process of rewiring yourself. Transformation is messy because it's real. You're not just changing what you do, you're changing how you think, how you see, how you feel. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes feedback. The more you learn to see those experiences as part of your growth, the less you resist them. You stop seeing discomfort as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. When you decide to become who your future needs, your priorities begin to shift. The things that once entertained you may no longer fulfill you. The people who drain your energy start to feel incompatible with your vision. Your time, your focus, your peace becomes sacred. You begin to say no more often, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You understand that every decision either brings you closer to or further from your future self. Every choice matters because every choice shapes identity. As you evolve, life starts to mirror your inner transformation. The same challenges that used to overwhelm you no longer hold the same power. The same fears that once kept you stuck begin to fade. You realize that the goal was never just about achieving something external. It was about becoming someone capable of creating and sustaining that achievement. Growth shifts your energy, and energy attracts experience. The moment your inner world changes, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match it. Becoming the person your future needs also means leading yourself with vision. It means seeing beyond what's in front of you and living as if the future version of yourself were already watching. How would they handle conflict? How would they manage time? How would they carry themselves in moments of doubt? When you act in alignment with that vision, you begin to bridge the gap between who you are and who you're meant to be. The goal isn't to chase your future, it's to grow into it, one choice at a time. Ultimately, the path to the life you want runs directly through the person you're willing to become. Every dream you have is waiting for the version of you who is strong enough, patient enough, and disciplined enough to make it real. You can't control the timing of opportunity, but you can control your readiness for it. You can control your mindset, your effort, your consistency, and your willingness to grow. And when you do, life begins to respond in ways that feel almost magical because you've finally aligned who you are with what you want.